Good. Good morning. Welcome to the June 2nd meeting of the Effingham BoS Selectmen. I'm Chuck Fuller. To my right is Lenny Espy, and to my left is Selectman Tom Hart. Public speaking instructions for later in this agenda. When we get to that, anybody that wishes to raise their hand on Zoom, you will have 5 minutes to make your statement and or ask your questions. And as we get started here, I'd like to first do the Pledge of Allegiance, if you'd join me in doing so. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. So, David, is that the Avatar person?
No.
Okay. All right. We actually have the Avatar assessors are joining us this morning for an update report, and they have not yet arrived, so we'll dive into the next item on the agenda, which is approving the minutes of May 25, 2021. I'll make a motion to approve those minutes.
Second.
Any discussion? Fuller, aye.
Aye.
Make a motion to approve the manifest in the amount of $389,873.77. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Fuller, aye. Lenny? You want to do an aye? I didn't hear you.
Aye.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't
Thought
hear
I
it.
did one.
You might have. I didn't hear it. That's all.
Did
Okay.
you get your hearing aid fixed?
Yeah, the question is, did I get a hearing aid? I'm actually, because the ones I have are beginning to break down, I'm actually meeting in a week and a half to start trying the newest versions of what's out there.
Cool.
So hopefully within a week and a half, my wife can stop screaming at me. In the signature folder, we did a revised manifest from May 25th, 2021 in the amount of $34,029.54. And this was a reduction due to the fact that we normally pay our trust fund monies from the town to the trustees of the trust funds later in the year, not at this point in time, because we usually need the float during the year. Minutes of May 18 were approved 2021 were approved last week, but we forgot to sign them. So this week we signed those minutes. Reviewing of the mail. There was a note in there for the concern around beaver management on Townhouse Road. That person was responded to along with the members of the Effingham Conservation Commission. The ECC will be actually going out at some point here, not too far down the road, to take a look at that particular item. We have the monthly report of the Effingham Fire Department. We also have the Action Ambulance year-to-date report, January 2021 through April 2021, with the full runs. I did check yesterday. That has not yet been set up on the town website, so I will work on that in the next week with our website manager to get those up there so we can get Action Ambulance information listed up there. If anybody wants to go in and take a look at the ambulance information, they'll be able to do that with any of the reporting around that. And we ended up with a postcard gratitude from Children Unlimited, Inc. Next item, 91A requests. Mr. Edwards requested plans for the Snow Road Bridge. Those are very, very large. We do not have a capability to print those. So I believe Mr. Edwards will be invited in to review those here in the office. And there was also a request for a copy of the contract. It had been misfiled here in the office. It has been found, and it is signed for the Snow Road Bridge. Administrator's comments. Audrey.
Hi, good morning. I'm back from vacation. One of the things I need to do is make sure we have updated all of our forms on the DRA website. Dan's done hers. I need to double check mine. I need to make sure that we're all up to date in SAM. I have a notice on that because that's what helps us with our federal grants. We have to be registered. I don't know what the S is, but it's an acquisition management system by the federal government. And I've been working with David on the Avatar contracts, and some of the old business is where my other comments will fall.
Okay,
Okay,
and you enjoyed your vacation last week?
I had a great vacation.
Good,
Yeah.
good. Well deserved. Before we get into selectmen's comments, could we have Avatar here? They were scheduled for 9, they're pretty much right on target. Our contract calls for monthly updates by Avatar regarding the assessment activity in town. So who do we have with us today?
Is it okay if I am vaccinated? But
Yep. You're okay.
All right. So my name is Tyler Barish. I am supervisor for Avatar Associates. Jonathan Babin was the supervisor for the town, but he's recently resigned. So I'll be taking over all the assessing needs for Effingham going forward.
So you're gonna be the primary contact?
I'm the primary contact. And it's good because I was the primary contact going back 10 years. Jonathan was recent, I think, for the past 4 or 5 years. So as far as I know, the only thing left outstanding regarding our duties so far are abatements, and I do have a list of those that he gave me that I'm hoping to address, and I confirm with Dave that these are the only abatements that we need to address. And then we have some appeal work that I have to go through. But other than that, I think we are on schedule with what we need to get done for the town in terms of new construction's all set, and data verification will be started relatively.
Do you folks have like a monthly, I'm gonna call it executive summary document that you can send out ahead of your arriving here?
Oh, we could. Yeah.
Not looking for much, just
Yeah.
something 1 page.
Yeah.
Here's kind of the high level of what's there, come up with a template. And then just fill it in on a monthly basis and get it to Audrey so we can read it. And then I believe we'll be seeing you a little bit more regular.
Yeah.
From that standpoint.
I can actually do that.
And I know you're here also to meet with Audrey and David regarding some items in the contract today, I believe.
Okay.
Well, primarily, Robiers, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to make sure I had the last name.
You pronounced it perfectly.
Great. So we were a little bit lost when Jonathan left, and I don't think we were formally notified, and we don't know what he accomplished. So it's my understanding that you'll be working with David today to let him know where we are on the 10% review that's done annually. And I think we have quite a few building permits, and those sites haven't been reviewed yet. So, David, we have a lot that needs to be done by July 1st, correct?
Well, July 1st is abatements, yes. There's probably
Okay.
about 10 of those that and Chad and I will go over those because the other ones I've already reviewed. They've already been disposed of one way or another, so they're all set. We're going to go over those so we know where we're going
Okay.
for July 1st for abatements. The permit stuff,
should have already been done.
it should have been
We
done,
just
so
don't know.
we'll have to,
Okay.
because he wasn't technically in charge of the town and Jonathan was. I know Jonathan and Amy or Cindy at your office.
Cindy doesn't have entry.
Was, she called up a couple times.
Yeah.
So I don't know what data entry she was doing, but she was doing data entry. Because I hooked her up to the
Yeah.
public computer, so she wouldn't interfere with me, but. As long as they're all set with that, what I have for permits and what I gotta go over with Chad is the new system I put in place. All the permits are gonna be numbered.
Okay.
We need to know what's happening in this town. It's been no numbering system. Our tax year starts April 1st. I can't be looking at permits that are June 3rd of this year because everything I'm putting in or should be put in had to be done before April 1st, so they're irrelevant. So I established the permit system now with Rebecca that April 1st, all permits start for the year. starting with number 1, and they go to March 31st. That way there we can track given permits in the year. Granted, they don't all end, but at least we know what year they started and what year we should pick them up and then go until they're complete. So we have to go over the permits, Avatar and I, China.
David, in your numbering system,
Yes.
can we use something that's like 1-21? So we can identify permit number 1, and it was in the year 2021?
Well, we're close. We did 21-01.
Okay, that's good. You know, something along those lines.
And
Yeah.
just to let you guys know, to make sure I covered everything, because, you know, this has been going on for several months, I went and did 20s too.
Okay.
So, because not all 20s end at 21, some of them, if they got it, say July of 20, it's good until July of 21, which means they could still be doing stuff, but we have to look back to April 1st because that's what our tax year is. So I started in, the first ones are called 20-01, and they all have zeros in front of the single numbers because we will not have more than 100 permits, so. Like so on 20, we have up to, I believe, like 63 permits. And on 21, I'm already on my 3rd page, so I'm up to like number 20 something for the year 21. So I put a system together so that Rebecca in permitting can cover it, Avatar out in the field can cover it. I know what property they're working on, and just by the permit number, I know when it should technically be done or they need extensions, etc. So yes, we're putting that in place so that zoning, permitting can all work to assessing. A lot of people are coming to assessing where you gotta back up, go over here and start coming towards us. We're usually the last piece in the puzzle because we're the people that put all the data in for you to get taxed. Right, Chuck?
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I was just wondering, how are permits being handled before? Were they entered into our assessment system or?
We won't talk about that.
Okay.
David's had a chance to start diving into our entire
Okay.
system, to take a look at how we process paperwork, how we file paperwork.
But is there a building permit software or is it?
No,
Nope, we have
So they're
nothing
probably-
in software.
Okay.
there's no software,
Yeah.
there's been no numbering system, and it's just you get a permit and they were tracking it by the permit number. No, let's do it for the year because technically I'm only looking at a year at a time. I
Right.
can't look forward.
Yeah, so the data entry that she was doing earlier in the year should have been only, we don't start DV until the summer, or the data verification process, so that's that 10%. We usually don't start that until the summers, because we wanna get all that permitting up until April 1st done on the first bill. By law, we don't have to, but it's nicer for the taxpayer to get that new house or new addition, half of it on their first bill, rather than getting a huge lump sum on the second bill issued in December, so. In the beginning of the year, all our work is usually permits, so if she was coming in and entering stuff in the beginning of the year, February,
It was March, April, and May.
Yeah,
I
it
know
would've
she
been that.
was doing
Yeah,
information, but I didn't have it bother me, and
Yeah.
Chad's definitely right, because we're a small town, anything that's big on a permit, we wanna get as much as we can for the first bill. Because it will be as of the property as of April 1st, but we can get it into the data system anytime before I send out the bill, which today is the last day, so that doesn't matter. And what that means is they will get their bill calculated on the value of what their house was done or the property, whatever, up till April 1st. That way they'll get half on the first bill in the June bill and the other half on the final bill, instead of, oh, we didn't get to go out there, we put it on after the June bill. Well, their December bill is going to shock them, because before it was only land for $300 tax a year, and now it has a house on it and their tax bill is now $4,000 a year. We prefer to let them know with the first bill, because the first bill is just a prepayment of your taxes. We're using the previous year's tax rate and we're cutting that in half, because we don't know what our tax rate is yet. until September when we go and get our tax rate. And they look at our budget and all our numbers that we've established through Avatar in the system. And that's how that goes.
Chad, you mentioned there's software available.
Yeah, there is building permit software. Most towns, like the size of Effingham though, they'll use, so what's nice about our system is that there's a one button, like, give us all the permits that you've issued for this year leading up to April 1st. So we automatically query all the cards that we know we need to go visit. And that also includes any properties that we would have visited last year, like Dave was saying, where, yeah, they pulled a permit in 20, and we went there in April of 20 or sometime that year, but maybe they didn't finish. So we mark it to go back again for April of 2021 to see if they've completed it or if it's still missing siding, something like that, whatever it is. And we'll keep going back until it's 100% done. That query also queries all those properties as well. So you might have 100 permits in 1 year, but we might go visit 160 properties because 60 of those were previous permits that hadn't been completed yet. So our software, without any building permit software, you can enter in permits in our software in the permit tab with, you can use your numbering system and the date, and that button will query those properties without any extra software. Getting the software just adds more functionality. You can add photos, you can add action items and stuff like that. But for smaller towns, that tab works pretty well. You can enter in, you know, the fees and all that.
We're going to stay with what we have because putting in more software for another person to operate, and I have to go through and make sure they understand the stuff we have first. And then we'll look further.
Can we leverage what they've got without going out and buying software outside?
Oh, yeah, but it'll probably be a year before we do anything because I have to make sure everything we have is where it's supposed to be with Rebecca and with Teresa from zoning. And then once everything's all together, we can look at it and say, okay, this isn't part of us. We have their billing collection system, which Deanna has, which is tied right into, and I have their camera system, which stands for Computer Assisted Mass Appraisal. It's a whole system that appraises the town and all the property. And then they have one that all these things can attach, and they have software that does basically everything in the town. If you get it all,
Right.
right?
Right, but I with the building permit, like they were saying, just figuring out what the town needs to do first is probably a good avenue.
Yeah.
Trying to
So
solve something.
if you think we need to take a look at either enhancing the existing software or buying something new, we gotta kind of have that discussion before the end of September, where budget season begins.
And
If
that's-
not, it's next September.
Right, and that's why I'm talking with them now, and I figured between now and the summer, I should have a good handle on all this stuff, getting the files away and knowing what we have, and talking to the ladies in zoning and permitting, et cetera, to make sure we're on the same schedule and we understand. Both those ladies do understand the new numbering system, so that's a plus. Now we can go from there and start putting all the features together that we need. Small town like this, like Chad said, maybe out of a whole year with backup permits and stuff for people that haven't finished it. They had 150 out in the field plus 120 cyclicals or 180 cyclicals they're doing. They're only doing 400 properties at tops out in the field. The average person does 25 a day, so.
Okay.
You know, if that's what you're doing out in the field is just data collection and verification, then it's not that grand because we're not that large of a town. It's just that things have to be done within a schedule so we can get them done, so I can inform Audrey and you guys as to what we're doing. As far as a permitting system itself, realistically, I can tell you, we're not gonna see one in the near future because we can get it done in the software we have. Let's not throw more software in there because we're going to
Totally
take,
agree.
we are going to take the website, I'm going to work with Rebecca and Dee. And we're going to put the website together so each facet of this will have its own page. And building permit will have its own page. Right now, it's just kind of fluffed in there someplace. No, they need their own page and whatever they do to them. certain pieces they touch will automatically link to me, and that's the way we want things done. So that Becca doesn't say, okay, I filled all this out, now I gotta print it all, I gotta copy it all, I gotta give Dave a copy, this a copy, no. We want the stuff that when you're done and you say, okay, it's finished, I have it, boom.
Okay.
So that's what we're looking at to make sure we're transitioning towards what life is doing. People don't wanna come to town hall if they can get it all on their internet or watch TV, cable. They don't need to come here, and that's the way we're going to function, the way this system works, because that's how it works throughout the state. And it's not that difficult once we get our pieces in place.
So I have a question on your schedule. Can you join us on June 29th for
My birthday?
the abatement for
No, my birthday.
Mr. Strauss? You taking that day off?
No, why would I stop doing that?
What, is it,
It's
In
a
the morning?
Tuesday. Yeah, we can schedule it for 10 a.m.
that should work fine?
Okay, so we'll review that after I'm done this meeting.
And so the 10% cyclical, we probably already sent out letters, I'll have to check, but I would say all of our towns, we sent out letters like January of this year, so everyone that is slated to be visited this year for that cyclical should have already gotten a letter letting them know that we're gonna be there this year. I don't know if,
I think Jonathan had started them because we had a citizen complaint that he was on property and then he actually called here saying he wasn't able to do that property.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, because there should be some sort of list, because in that letter, we send out, there's usually a number, it's usually a town office number that someone can call, or an email where they can say, I don't want anyone on my property.
So,
We're gonna get rid of that.
Okay,
yeah, we're gonna talk about that later.
okay,
We have a number of people that have had, don't come on my property for years, so they need to be actually coded in your system.
they probably are.
They're annual.
So I remember there was Gwen used to usually have a list, and I think she'd go through it prior to us pulling the DV. She would put the number on there if it was someone that we had to call first. The guy on Libby Road, wicked nice guy, he always wanted me to call him before I went there. So yeah, I definitely, yeah, I can see that.
So, as you were just describing something there, you brought up something that I found interesting about a year ago with a presentation from Avatar.
Mhm.
Who's responsible for making sure the information on the card is up to date? It's not the town, it's not Avatar, it's the property owner.
Correct, it's our job when we visit to make sure that all the information on there is relevant, from what we can see. But it is ultimately up to the taxpayer to know that what's on that card is 100% accurate. Right.
Lenny, any questions?
No.
No? Good. Chad, thank you for coming in.
Okay.
I truly appreciate it. Thank you. David, thank you for coming in. All right. Old business. The first item on here is petitions that were received. I'm skipping, you're right. Sorry about that. Thank you.
And I don't,
Randy's not on the schedule. Randy, do you want to do something this morning?
Yes. Now?
Open public if you can do it?
Yeah.
Or 91A. Good.
Right here.
Good.
My,
Randy Burbank, Fire Chief.
my resignation letter.
Resignation letter.
I'm gonna drop it off Monday, but nobody's here to take it.
it's a Dropbox. So we tell the public. You can sit up here,
Yeah, that's right, I'll be over the camera. Okay.
the camera will be over here, you'll be up.
I divorced a lot.
Randy, thank you for giving us a little lead time on your last day,
Yeah.
March 12th, 2022. Good. Lenny, do you want to read that? You want to?
You want me to read it aloud? or-
No. Just skim it so you know what it is. It's like, all right, so we'll sit down, one of our work sessions here coming up and invite you in and we'll talk about the process.
Great.
There is, I believe, a warrant article from a few years ago which helps define how all this is gonna work. So we'll dust that off, we'll bring it out and we'll begin to set up review boards and other things.
Okay.
So.
One thing I'll say is when I took over, I was left with a inadequate budget. I had to work with what we had, so I don't, you could find my replacement in a reasonable time, but we could at least see what he's dealing with.
Okay, and I'm hoping whatever our new chief looks like in coming through the door, that they are able to get as many grants as you've been able to get on behalf of the town. Because the town has not recognized you appropriately for all the hundreds of thousands of dollars you've raised through grants for the fire department.
Happy to do it.
I know you've been, but people don't realize just how much money you've saved this town in property taxes because of what you've done in grant writing.
Not to mention rolling a fire truck.
We won't mention that.
Oh, thank you. Got yourself a new pole.
Yeah. 40 footer.
All right, good. All right, do you have any questions of us until we can get back to you?
No, that was it.
Okay. So,
If you're through it, you know, head down the station to daytime coverage started yesterday.
oh,
How's that
perfect.
working out?
So far, so good.
Good.
We within house, we got every shift filled with exception of two, one Tuesday and one Wednesday. We have had two other individuals from surrounding towns approach us if they're interested, if we're interested in having them. But yeah, we'd like to get a list of a roster, so we have a situation up where somebody signed up for a shift but won't work out it, so we could at least call around to fill the rest of it. And have a roster, so.
We need to do personnel files on them. This isn't stipend the way the warrant article is. They're employees of the town. So we need to make sure we get information out to them, just like the part-time police officers, for them to fill out the correct forms for payroll. And then they need to submit timesheets weekly.
Right,
Okay,
we've already, time she's still on.
all right.
This includes people who've already, are calling, are volunteers and getting a stipend, or?
Well, if you could, is that what it's gonna be, only those people? Right now?
Right, most of them are already on the department, already getting checked.
Yeah, if you see Barbara, she can give you copies of all the forms. I don't think she has enough of the personnel manual, but you could leave with a dozen of each form that we need.
Okay.
And if they can return that on Friday, Thursday, or Friday, well, they can put it in the Dropbox. If they can't drop it Monday, it can go in the Dropbox, or you can drop them off, because you're gonna sign them. On Monday by 9, normally we have all the time sheets, and they could give us those forms back at that time.
Okay.
Does that work for you? Okay,
All right, I'll get it before I leave, because
all right,
this was already started.
I know, yeah. Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Anything else, Randy?
No, that's it.
We're gonna do a work session the first and third Tuesdays of the month following the selectmen's meeting. And I made a note after you and I talked the other day about that hydrant pipe that's broken.
Yep.
Down by Station 2. And I wanna put that on our agenda to figure out what it'll take to get that taken care of and back in service.
Yeah.
So.
Well, we do have a dry hydrant line item budget, capital reserve, I don't know what it's under, but
Yeah, I'm thinking early on, we need to kind of define, as you started describing me, but make sure that both Lenny and Tom are fully aware of it, what the workload's gonna be to do that. And as far as calling New Hampshire DOT for 153, whatever we gotta do.
Yeah.
But then begin to get that done, so hopefully we can get that thing in before cold weather this coming year.
last weekend.
Yeah, I understand. Good.
All right,
That's
Thank
the dry hydrant that's not there anymore, correct?
Correct, yeah. It broke, it wasn't down far enough frosted underneath it, because we went down looking to find a problem, we found the pipe like teepee shaped. So we kept digging close and close to the highway, we started getting too close to the highway, just says, no.
Okay.
So we just cut it off and pulled it, it wasn't working.
Is it deep enough under the roadway, do you know, from a frost standpoint?
We didn't find that sleeve that's under the roadway, because like we're getting too close and
Okay. All right. We'll probably do some scope work or something to determine that.
Any idea who put that in originally?
I don't,
I wonder if it was maybe Lawrence.
Can you check and find out?
Yeah.
Because I mean, at this point, we gotta do some homework to figure out,
Right.
what we can find out about where the pipe is, and Randy knows where they broke it off and pulled it out.
we know approximately where it was, it's
Yeah.
in front of the sign now.
So,
That's why those two pillars are there.
Yeah.
For protecting the hydrant.
got it, okay, all right. Yeah, and then if you have to get hold of the DOT for 153, we'll loop them into.
So we might have to pull those pillars out to dig in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Right.
Anything else, sir?
Nope,
Perfect.
just clarification, the forms of the W 499.
Yes,
And air conditioning.
And let us know where to get here.
Yes,
Because we
Sorry.
stored the windows last year and we're about ready to restore them this year, we can't have them against the bottom of the sash. They've gotta be held up by a freestanding post. We created one for the one that's near the handicap section closest to Townhouse Road. That's how that air conditioner sat in there last year, so it sat in the storm window. It was supported by that particular post. We're gonna be taking out the window in the community, what used to be the community room where the old one in the back of the building was. We're gonna need to build a stand for that one. And plan on having it basically the same way up to the storm window. Until we can get the heating system in, and then we can eliminate window air conditioners. So we did not build a stand for that one. So, do you want some help with that?
yeah, we need some,
Okay.
high rolling ones.
Let me reach out to, Leo and I built that last year. Let me reach out to him and see if he's got some time the next week or so.
Okay.
And we'll, three of us go down there and we'll get it put together and put those in and move on with it. Okay.
One last thing is I'll be inspecting Camp Harris tomorrow. I guess they're gonna open up on July 4th.
Okay.
I don't know how, because my son usually goes to camp. We had notified yesterday it's canceled because they can't get any help there, because they're not all to fly in from other countries. That's where they get all their staffing from other countries.
Randy, in addition to the forms, we're gonna need to know the hourly rate for the people,
Yes.
so do you wanna provide that?
It'll be on each individual payslip. You
Okay.
need a separate slip as well, or?
Usually we don't put it on there if you want to give us just a list of people,
Okay,
or notate it on the back of the W.
because what I've been doing on the time sheet slip is, put the hours they worked and put the total, what they're owed at the end. Not the hourly.
You don't have to do that, Barbara can give you copies of our time slips too,
I have plenty. of those.
okay,
Actually, what we could give them is, the pay rate change form.
oh,
You could
right,
write it in there. You
okay,
can write it on there.
all right.
Well,
Shoot,
as long as it doesn't confuse them when it comes to callback hours, because it's different pay scale.
And that's what we need to, I need to show that separately.
Yep.
In the
Okay.
computer, yeah.
and that's the stipends,
Correct.
okay. We don't need to see that time sheet. You have all that.
Any other questions, comments? Randy, thank you very much for your time, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
jump on the gun, selectmen's comments.
All right, spoke to our road agent last weekend and yesterday and again this morning. I got a call from a concerned citizen informing me that the cemetery road hadn't been touched before Memorial Day, which is a big no-no. And also about some dirt piles that we've been trying to get picked up. He's been notified, he's working on those, the dirt piles this week. They done grading yesterday, and he's gonna be going over the cemetery this week. Hopefully a load of gravel will be there today, and then they'll get over there and grade that. They'll smooth the load down if it's delivered today with the backhoe today, and then get the grade over there and grade it. Man, that, I'll take responsibility for that, because I should have went out Thursday to see if it had been done before the weekend, because he, you know. But, so, I apologize for that. Calcium chloride,
Before you go on from now on, can you, when you have your discussions with Ron, let him know from this point forward, the sand piles need to be immediately removed
yeah,
or removed at the same time that grading is taking place?
I will.
Having it like this is not gonna work.
No, and it's been something that's been ongoing, and just, you know, they need to be done. Part of the,
Excuse me, if you could speak a little bit louder, that would be great. And Evans verified that they order sand and salt in May, remember we had a bill?
Right,
And that's typical for them to stockpile for the winter.
okay.
Okay. They're gonna be continuing grading. They graded 12 roads. They also put down 7,100 gallons of calcium chloride on Friday. They got another load. He's actually able to get another load for this coming Friday. So they're gonna finish grading what roads need to be graded, and then they'll put the calcium chloride down on Friday. And that should cover it, calcium.
Yeah, they hit Snow Road on Friday, right before the rain, so it was perfect.
And possession. Yeah, 12 roads is done. So we're working on the piles in the cemetery. That's all on that. And then finally got to talk to Kevin at A&B Log. Gave him the info on the safe. I think he contacted you for a picture of it also. Did you get that to him?
I have not yet, I'll do that after the meeting.
All right. The info on the safe, he'll be calling them to get that combination and then notify when he has it, so he can lead the police in there, open it, and you guys all wanna be around for the grand opening.
I think that's gonna be the easy part. Moving that sucker is gonna be the interesting part.
Yeah. Oh, you can ask him how they move. I need to set up with you guys. I was talking to the recipient family, the Boston Post cane, which she will accept. Can we present, the only thing is getting the person down here might be an issue. Can we go to their house and do it maybe after next Tuesday's meeting? And I'll line up a photographer or someone to take a picture and get it in the paper.
Yeah, we just have to announce it as a public meeting.
We can just post it.
Okay.
Yeah, because we'll be in the meeting then.
We'll be in a meeting anyway.
Is that you guys schedule all right with that?
Yeah, we can leave right from here. Close the meeting out after we're done there.
All right, great.
Okay.
I'll inform them today on that.
Can you tell us who it is? Or is it a secret?
Yeah, I gotta keep it till, I'll tell these, tell you all, but. I called Rebecca last week about something, had quite a few questions on. I think it's time we need to bring Rebecca in. Talk to us about a few things going on in town. I know she's been doing it from home, but she's had some illness too, some surgery and all, her husband also been down, but if we could maybe get in touch with her
Okay,
and get her in, hopefully the sooner the better. Cause I have some issues, I believe, with a new building on 153.
Didn't we set her up for the 4th week?
We did, but I think it'll be worth it. We can get it on ahead of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just,
We haven't actually had a room for quite a while.
yeah, and I've gone, I think, six calls and just when some people have asked about it. So, and that's it.
I got one question for you.
Sure.
When you did the ISO research last year, I believe you mentioned that we might be able to get somebody from ISO to come out here and
Right.
run around town and document the existing dry hydrants
Mhm.
and give us an indication where we might have an advantage if we could put in more dry hydrants.
Right.
Is that something we can schedule?
I told them I'd follow up and sell them.
Okay, perfect.
Because of the COVID and everything else,
All right.
that time frame.
Yep.
And just so many knows, our dry hydrants were never registered
So we're not getting any credit from the fire department standpoint.
all these years, so. I went around, I got a list of the ones we have, and then we wanna see where else we can put others in, if we'll lower homeowners insurance in the long run, will bring us down another level. Yeah. So that's what that's all about.
And actually, by the time they get here, because of what we just passed at town meeting with a part-time helper and daytime coverage, that
Right.
can get factored in too.
Absolutely.
Okay. Good. Anything else, Tom?
Nope, I'll give ISO another call,
All right.
contact and, that I have to get on that, and we may take a call.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, those guys are usually busy. If we get in their
Yeah.
calendar, it might take 2 to 3 months just to schedule it that far in advance.
Got you. Okay, that's it.
Lenny,
We talked about the tip problem there at the transfer station. I did go talk to those guys. I don't know, is that gonna come up in our work session later?
I was gonna touch transfer station stuff, but I hadn't dealt with any issues, so.
Oh, no, I just don't, I had an old weed whacker, it ran, but it didn't run good. I gave it to Bill, I says, I started it up for him, he liked it, so he says, yeah, I'll take it and just weed whack it, so that'll help keep the ticks down in the refrigerator area, but,
The tick tubes are here.
oh, okay. I'll take them and drop them off on the way home.
Perfect.
I'd like to give a shout out to Greg Douglas, Tim Murphy, and their crew for getting the flags out to the
They
cemeteries.
do a phenomenal job.
Absolutely.
And also Todd Mason for mowing woodland, looked beautiful.
It did. I drove up there and saw it. It was very pretty.
Tip my hat to them, big thank you to them.
Thank you.
And the Philbrook Road incident with Consolidated, I have been in touch, and I got hold of the guy from the PUC. And talked to him, and he said that he met with Ron, and Ron told him that he was told that that cable was abandoned. I don't know who told him, but he said, so the PUC didn't fine him for that. But that guy, he referred me to a guy from Consolidated. So I talked to him yesterday, and I told him, I says, 4 years ago, when we were ditching up there, taking them runoffs out and stuff, I said, I called twice, and Dig Safe never marked it. So the third time I called back, I had the guy call me, the technician called me. And he did, and he told me he didn't mark it because it was abandoned. So the guy that I talked to yesterday kind of realized I knew what I was talking about, after 35 years. But so I told him, I said, somebody had to tell, it was on Target back then, they use a different locating company now. I said, somebody had to have somewhere written down, because they keep track of all the cables, aerial, buried, wherever. And if they get an old buried cable, which they had a lot of back in the Lady Bird Johnson days, Beautifying America, and then they found out it didn't work up here. So most of it's gone into the air, but buried now has a lot of requirements, it's gotta be in conduit and everything else, but regardless, I used to just direct bury it, plow it in, and if it hit a rock, it either went up over it, around it, or beside it, it wasn't good, and then the frost. So I said, you know, that thing's been hit by lightning, and I explained to him how it got there, when the lady built the log cabin out there, and I said, so somewhere, I says, in your cable plates, it's gotta show something that it's abandoned. Because why would the guy from Big Safe tell me it was abandoned? That's why he didn't mark it. So he says, good point. He says, I'll see what I can find out and I'll get back to you. But I haven't heard anything from since yesterday afternoon.
It's a good thing you have a good background.
Yeah.
Yeah, once you
But, I
understand, you
mean,
can speak his language. Yeah.
You know, he said that he is kind of caught between a rock and a hard place. I mean, regardless, if you think it's dead anyway, he's still supposed to call. He said it was an emergency type situation. I thought it was last month, it was a year ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, so,
Yeah, there was a washout on the cover up on Summer Hill.
but, yeah, that's where we stand. I haven't yet heard that from him, but,
Hey, did you hear anything from Primex with that email and that information I shipped over?
I didn't call the insurance company
Okay.
because, if this guy, I don't know if he's got the authority to tear up the bill or
Okay,
not.
okay.
He said it really wasn't his call, but, you know, maybe he can talk with whoever it is call. So
Okay,
he was gonna get back to me and let me know.
okay,
This is,
all right, then,
we'll see what we can.
once you hear from him, then we can go to the next level.
Right.
Whatever it is.
Right. In the transfer station, about the fees and what to charge and stuff, we can do that in a work session.
Yep.
Cause they had some good ideas.
Are you, with the feedback you got, is that something we can deal with today? Or-
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect,
Yeah.
okay. All right,
So that's all I got right now.
Can I just interrupt for a minute, Lenny, I didn't catch the names, Greg, you were gonna thank,
Greg Douglas,
and who else,
Tim Murphy,
for what?
the flags, putting the flags out.
Oh, okay, thanks. I think you're talking that way, and and I should probably move my seat.
And Todd Mason, the guy that does them all.
Okay, thank you.
okay,
Can I just piggyback something?
you absolutely can.
On the flag, I was talking to Murph, the other day, I seen it added. And, he said, where do we get the flags this year? Do you know? A
Yes,
different place?
yes.
Because, wood,
Yeah.
it was really skinny and they flopped back and forth, because they didn't fit into the veterans marker holder that holds the flag in place.
The
And,
ones I've seen just,
Yeah,
they're like a weather staff.
yeah, the post is real thin, so maybe next year we can either go back to the flag company we used or, it was just a,
I'll contact them because I ordered, new,
the markers.
the markers. And so we might be in a position now where I have skinnier holes in the markers. But I will contact them because they asked for feedback. The place, I didn't know until Greg contacted me. Chris had left and said, oh, we need to order flags. And so she didn't say what kind of flags. And I was thinking, well, the one outside the town hall looks great. I have 2 extras. What do I need to order flags for? And then Greg called me and he wanted cemetery flags. And the place we normally order them didn't have enough. So I had to scramble.
Okay.
So I did like the fact that they were made in USA and it was a Connecticut-based company, but if they're not good quality, I'll let them know.
Yeah, well, I think the medallions, the holders are for like a 5/16 dowel, and I think most of the flags, the little thin ones, they put in 1/4-inch dowels. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
That was all.
Good, okay. Yeah, I've only got one thing for this portion before we get into old business. I had talked, the police chief had called me last week about some trash being dumped on the side of one of the roads. And we don't actually have a formal process for recovering that kind of stuff. So I stopped at the transfer station and I asked Brad if he wanted to, earn a couple hours of time, go out and pick up the trash Can bring it back in, and when the PD needs him for something like that, they'll just call him. He called me yesterday morning, and in his work on that area of the town where he was looking for that particular pile, he found two 55-gallon drums thrown in the ditch on the side of the road up near Huckins Pond. And he opened one of them, and it was completely filled with human feces. So he didn't bother to touch the second one. I called the health officer, who has been in contact with the state because of potential drainage issues in the wetland area and potentially the pond. And the chief has gone out and taken a formal report on it. And they're actually doing some evidence gathering from the exterior of the container if they can get it. So they're working on that. They should be done that within the next day or so. Then I'm thinking we should call the folks we had pump out the transfer station last year and see if we can hire them to come in and pump out those barrels and remove the barrels. Any reason why we shouldn't do it?
I don't see it. I'd rather transport them empty than full.
Yeah.
I'm hoping
It's
that,
gotta go somewhere.
yeah, I'm hoping that they not only will pump them, but they'll actually dispose of them too.
Yeah.
Because it's bio waste, it's a hazardous waste underneath the definition. So if they have the capability to dispose of them too, that'd be great. Otherwise, it'll be a little bit more expensive for us to try and do it through another medium.
Yeah.
So, surprise, they caught me by surprise yesterday morning.
I can see it. It's not something you find inside the road every day.
I know, but what it does highlight though, which is another reason to have Rebecca in here.
Yeah.
Is that we have a number of RVs, trailers that are getting seasonal permits. We should be addressing, what are you doing with your waste management? Because I'm suspecting this is either somebody that's got an RV, or we know there's a few houses in town with people living in without any sewer systems in them. We haven't had a chance to check them out yet. But it could be somebody that has a residence, living in the residence without a proper sewage disposal system. So it needs to be something, this just kind of kicks off the let's look at it a little deeper discussion. All right, that's what I had for the my reports on that. So from an old business standpoint, petitions related to Mike Cahalan. Last week, Monday afternoon, envelope was delivered to the office, 2 petitions in that. And one of those petitions was signed by a number of people, upwards of 75. And the cover letter on that read as such: to whom it may concern. Over the past few years, the community has been disconcerted regarding the acts of Selectman Mr. Michael Cahalan. There is grave concern amongst Effingham, New Hampshire residents. These ongoing occurrences have become more and more unsettling and at times have cost the town legal expenses. Interesting. He has interfered with residents and businesses, which has nothing to do with selectmen's duties. All this is causing distress amongst the community. Town voting was held on May 11th, 2021, and the community has spoken. Mr. Cahalan lost his position as a selectman. Since that time, he's continued to be part of the affairs of the town by volunteering his unproven knowledge, overseeing, and expertise, in quotes. All has brought the community to a point where we feel it has to take desperate measures to eliminate Mr. Cahalan from all actions that have anything to do with the town of Effingham business. A petition was put into action and a lot of dedication and time was spent, and each resident while getting their signatures. During this time, questions were asked by the voters and a lot of complaints toward Mr. Cahalan were made. These remarks against Mr. Cahalan were not pleasant to listen to. Thank you for your time to listen to the community's concerns, complaints, and desires to cease Mr. Michael Cahalan from any actions of the town of Effingham. So I want to address a couple things in here. First off, unproven knowledge, overseeing, and expertise. is an unfactual statement, not true. Mike has more experience in a lot of the areas he's been working on for the last 3 years than anybody else I know of in town. And he has taken the time and the effort to not only get the education, but to call the state and legal and whatever has been needed with the government for grants to make sure that it has all been done. So I will basically say I've got a big issue with that statement, don't agree with it. The petition was signed upwards of about 75 individuals, which represents about 6% of the voting members of the town of Effingham. When I signed my oath a couple of years ago, the thing I agreed to do was to be basically looking out on behalf of all citizens of the town of Effingham, not just a small group of citizens. So whenever I make my decisions, whether I like them or not, it's for the benefit of the entire community. And both Mr. Espy and Mr. Hart took the same oath. Based on 6% of the voting population having an issue, I've watched the information going on Facebook and the social media for quite a while now. And quite frankly, it's slanderous, defamation of character, and other components. Can't stop it. I understand that. Just let you know, we are reading it. So at this stage of the game, Mr. Cahalan is currently, by adoption of a document with this select board a couple weeks back, working for the town on 13 different projects. He was approved to do that 3-0 by the Board of Selectmen. He is already working on those different projects in his continuing capacity. I have no intention of changing that document. Do either one of you want to revote that?
I don't know. You want to read the petitions? I mean, you read the cover letter, but the petitions say
Well,
something different,
All of
right?
it's just a standard, the undersigned signatures. These are the
Yeah,
witnesses.
but one of them is the health officer and the
We're gonna get
other,
into that in a minute.
and the other was the Snow Road Bridge.
This one was this was only dealing with getting rid of Mike, period. I just read you the cover letter, it was on the big
Yeah,
petition.
yeah.
That's why I read it, because I want to make sure it was clear what we were talking about. So from that standpoint, I have no intention of changing my mind and having him continue working for the town on those 13 projects we outlined.
Yeah, I'm all right with that on that. It's like throwing the baby out the bathwater. I mean, he's got so much knowledge on the projects he's on, he's been fully
Correct.
invested into them. I couldn't step into those shoes.
I couldn't either, I don't have, those weren't my projects, so I didn't dive into them.
Not all of them.
Yeah, no. I think he belongs where it's at now.
Okay. So that was petition number 1. I truly appreciate the feedback, folks. I hope you continue providing the feedback. Sometimes we'll agree with it, sometimes we won't. The second petition was regarding the health officer position. And there was actually no cover letter on that one.
The cover letter came with both of them.
Did you?
It was one package.
Yeah.
So I think what Lenny asked is to read the top of the petitions. There's 2 separate petitions.
Yeah, it was just a cover letter, that's the way I feel.
Right.
Okay. I only saw the one cover letter. Was there?
No.
That's all there was.
That's what they were.
So the top of the health officer petition. We, the undersigned, who by our signatures below demand the Board of Selectmen or the town of Effingham to choose an impartial health officer immediately. There is too much personal animosity with the health officer at present. A new, fresh outlook would be beneficial for this town. So as a result of that, I asked Audrey to follow up with New Hampshire Municipal Association legal counsel on this very subject. And I then subsequently had a discussion with senior counsel there regarding the health officer request. Michael has a 3-year appointment by the Commissioner of the Department of Health and Human Services that expires April of 2023. The Commissioner of DHHS is the only authority that can remove Michael prior to April of 2023, and that would have to be for cause. Subsequent to this information starting. Audrey and I both got copied on letters from DHS staff, who basically summarized the point that they have dealt with Mr. Cahalan on several occasions in his health officer capacity. In all, and this is a quote, "In all of my interactions with Mr. Cahalan, he has presented himself as rational, reasonable, and knowledgeable about the situations in the health officer status." With that kind of comment coming out of the department, I'm not sure there's gonna be any cause for removing Mike from that position. Based on the information we've got going on with health issues in town, and they're growing, I have no intention of changing my position and having him appointed as a health officer. You guys wanna?
That's all you can do anyway. Yeah.
Well, yeah, no, they did, the way they worded it, they wanted somebody else appointed, and I'm not willing to appoint anybody else.
I don't know what you read from the
Only
state.
DHS can.
You can, but what the petition said was basically appointing another health officer. We, the undersigned, who by our signatures below demand the Board of Selectmen of the town of Effingham, New Hampshire, choose an impartial health officer immediately. Which means you have a second one. And we don't need a second one. We've got one. And this petition was also delivered directly to DHHS besides ourselves, which generated the discussion that Audrey had with their department up there and my subsequent follow-up. So
Did you want to read the top of the Snow Road one also?
I can do that. The Snow Road Bridge. Snow Road Bridge petition. So there was a cover letter which I read, plus this additional information specific to this particular petition. We, the undersigned, who by our signatures below demand the Board of Selectmen of the town of Effingham, New Hampshire, to cease the consulting and or overseeing of the Snow Road Bridge by Michael Cahalan, effective immediately and or in the future. We feel this is an insurance liability to the town of Effingham as he is no longer an employee. Also, Mr. Cahalan has no experience and knowledge of bridge building. So in response to that, the insurance liability, Mike is covered as a volunteer underneath the town Primex policy. As the health officer, he's covered underneath the town Primex policy. As far as his expertise or knowledge of bridge building, I'm not expecting Mike to build the bridge. I'm expecting him to project manage the process, which means he doesn't have to build it. He needs the project management of it. And based on what I've seen over the last year and a half on this, he's done an extremely good job in doing that. That's my opinion. Anybody else want to add anything?
I think he's done a great job on that Snow Road Bridge project.
And it should come in under budget, which will be even better. So. Anything else related to the petitions?
Missed it. Madison wants to know if Lenny voted and has an opinion.
Voted.
Because Chairman Fuller asked you if you wanted to reopen appointment of Mike.
I was under the impression we couldn't. That it
Well,
was
from the
only-
standpoint of the health officer, there is no opening of
Right.
anything.
Right,
Right,
so,
So that's a non.
So that's a non-starter. And
that
I
was,
think we
that was
agreed
my
that,
impression.
Yep.
When I took it.
yeah, that was pretty clear when I got that information from the council.
Yeah.
So, and he actually generated that in writing, which I believe was in the documents we saw today. Opening the meeting to the public. There was an NHMA notice that came out yesterday. Did I forward that to both of you?
I got it, but I thought it came from NHS.
You might have, you could be on the list, I wasn't sure whether you were, that's why I think I forwarded it.
Yeah.
Which basically said, the governor had signed an executive order to extend the capability to do Zoom meetings without physical presence of the public. An additional 2 weeks, which expires on June 11th. Even if the legislature passes the bill that's in there to allow the continuance of Zoom type meetings, It was the feeling of NHMA that that would not be effective until sometime in July. So there is an opening between the 11th or 12th of June and whatever that time period is. So I'm thinking we are going to be opening up the office and the select board meeting to the public. I had a discussion with a couple of the staff here yesterday because I wanted to see if there was any major reasons why they thought we could not open for business as usual. And the answer was no. So with the new hours, the town clerk, tax collector's office is by appointment only on Tuesday afternoons. That is in their prescription. We don't control that office's schedule or access from that standpoint. I then followed up with legal counsel regarding, NHMA legal counsel regarding the requirement for masks. And those are purely our decision. So we have had a policy that masks would be required of anybody from the public entering the building. I am in favor of continuing that particular policy at least for another couple months to see how the traffic works out in that very narrow hallway out there, because there is no way that people are going to do social distancing if 2 or 3 people are walking through the door at the same time, working at the town clerk, tax collector, or the selectman's office. I'm willing to revisit that in a month or two, but at this point, this state is still under 50% fully vaccinated, and there's still some risk out there. That's my view on that one, but I'm open for your discussion.
Yeah, I'm looking all about. The 11th.
Well, that's a Friday, so our first 14th would be the Monday the 14th.
Yeah, I'm good with that. As far as the mask go, I think it's thought about that here.
Well, good news is you've got another 5 minutes.
Yeah.
What about, I mean, you can't require somebody to wear a mask.
You can if you come in the building.
Yeah, so the people that don't want to wear a mask,
Don't come in the building. They can ring
Yeah,
the bell
well-
and do their business outside.
that's what,
I mean, we're still gonna allow that. We're not gonna turn anybody away from doing business. It's, if you're wearing a mask, you can come in to the window. If you're not wearing a mask, ring the doorbell, they'll come out to you
correct.
to process that business.
Are we doing anything? I'm sorry.
Just wanted to make sure that
No, that's good.
that get out there.
That's a good point that I.
And also, they don't think it's gonna happen, but the government could extend it.
I'm good making the decision here today, going on the 14th, even if you want to
Okay.
extend it. You know, I think we're far enough along with that element of it, with this whole reduction in the pandemic, because the numbers are going down every single day. Both the infections and deaths, so.
So the public knows, that if it expires on the 11th, he doesn't renew it. If we don't open Monday, we're in violation of the 90.
We will open them.
Yeah, but if we don't,
Oh, if we don't, right,
yeah, you
Yep.
continue to Zoom,
exactly.
we're in violation of the right to know.
How about fully vaccinated folks? Is that could be a consideration, or just take that out of the picture? The responsibility
At this point, it's out of the picture. If you're in the public and you're coming into the building, you gotta wear a mask.
Okay.
If you don't want to wear a mask, as Lenny pointed out, we'll still get you service, but you're gonna be standing outside for that activity.
I'll be able to hear you guys.
And I think we ought to revisit it anyway within another month or two. Just because of all the updates that are coming out from all the different research and CDC and everything else.
Well, we will be opening on the 14th.
We will be opening for business on the 14th. We will have the potential for the public to arrive here on the 15th for a selectmen's meeting. Again, masks required, and there'll be social distancing of seating.
Now, do we have masks here, extra masks if someone comes and forgets theirs?
Well, we've got boxes of them. So if somebody doesn't have a mask, we've got masks here.
The staff had some discussion yesterday, but a couple weren't here. about how we're going to do that. The town clerk may extend which days have appointments required, for example, maybe Wednesday. They have days that they do training. I know that Wesley, for example, has 2 days of training, and they put a note on the door saying, you know, so sorry, we're in training today. And so we're trying to find a balance where, you know, they can do their training, but be open. So some of the courses that they take online, Deanna and Wesley both need to be in. So that day may be a scheduled work day, but there's going to be something in the window saying we're not here. So there was an inquiry made yesterday of what other towns are doing. Ossipee still requiring appointment. And Hamworth is still, you put it in the box and they come out and get it. So those are the people with the most exposure. My understanding is that the guidance from the governor was related to public meetings. It wasn't specifically what the office is doing. So they have some control that may not be in line with what meetings are. So the meetings are, you know, conservation, planning board, zoning board, historic commission, and making sure those people are all on the same page with you and how they handle the public. So you may want to have a conversation with the various committee heads and how they're doing their meetings and where they're doing them. And I know planning and zoning is coming in to get a lesson on Zoom and how I've been doing it, so they can also do in person and Zoom.
So if we open up though, aren't they required to hold their meetings at 91 days of boards, committees? You know.
Yes, but there needs to be conversation with them, is what I'm saying. They might not have gotten that into May. And
We need to do a communication.
yeah, they need to understand how the room's laid out and if they have concerns,
Mhm.
you know, what are their concerns? So,
I mean, first in public, again, we're gonna have to reconfigure this.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And,
We have a planning board meeting tomorrow night. So I'm sure it'll be brought up then.
mhm.
Okay,
So we're figuring out how we can space people out there, you know, do we put the circles on the floor every 6 feet for distancing? Because for some of the public that may want to come in that aren't comfortable and want the distancing, and
yeah, we got 4 stickers.
we can figure something out. We have work to do before the 14th.
Yeah, thank you.
Right on the duct tape, staying here.
Double sided. Okay, so I just wanted to let the public know the staff's still talking about it.
Okay,
Okay.
So we can probably announce what the rules and regulations will be at next meeting, Tuesday.
we can do that, actually,
That way
as a
everybody-
result of the minutes, the draft minutes going up, they're pretty much gonna hear the decisions and discussion anyway. So, but Lenny, are you okay with the mask inside for the time being?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. But I think, again, we ought to address it in, you know, call it July, early mid-July, and take a look at that again.
And continue to do Zoom,
Pardon me?
continue to Zoom.
We will continue our recording and Zoom meetings, as we've been doing. So, next on the old business list, for me, I did not last week get to handle the pictures for the stone wall. I'll take care of that this week. I did reach out to the Wolfboro Community Television folks, after we get the information from the Spectrum on the franchise payment. Haven't heard back from them yet on that. And the Snow Road Bridge advertisement can that go out this week?
Yeah, I'll do that this afternoon.
And then just verify the date time frame we need to
Yeah.
basically make sure we've got the right window. And then make sure we've got it scheduled as a meeting to be able to review that. And,
That's the paving.
Payment.
yeah,
And
for the.
I think that's 30 days. Current
Yeah.
policy.
So I think, but I want to make sure that depending on what day it physically hits the paper.
Yeah.
We know the 30 days is beyond that, so we can look ahead to schedule that review. I don't know if I mentioned this before, but Linda Edwards handed me a couple of grainy, dark photos at the town meeting regarding Elm Street Bridge and the perception that there was debris in the water and it was an issue. I personally went down there a week or so ago and I could not see anything in the water that was debris. I do know at the time there was a discussion on that. I do know that Hanson actually put up a containment system. And by the looks of where that is right now, they actually cleaned up the work after they had done jackhammering. I also asked the Effingham Conservation Commission to go down and take a look at it. And if they thought there was any concerns, please go back to the board. So, and I heard, and it was gonna be a couple of weeks. Emily did tell me that they were doing a site visit around town for something, but it was gonna be a couple of weeks. American Rescue Plan Act of 2021. So that link we talked about last week, the register, sign up, sit in on that whole thing to learn what we can do and can't do with the federal money. My confirmation came in, but they never sent me the Zoom link, so I wasn't able to attend it. Were either one of you able to attend it?
Mhm.
Okay. They did write back to me when I complained and basically said they were editing it and they were putting it on YouTube.
Mhm.
So I asked them to give me the information about when that happened. When we get it, I will forward it to both of you. It will be important to review that. I started to go down through the documentation on the state website, and you can sit there and read for hours because it's all federally written, so it's like everything they do is 100 pages long. But what's important for us, because it's related to COVID and COVID activity, we're going to need to, in a work session, not too far down the road, because it's only like 60 days before we gotta do something. Look at what avenues we might want to apply for money and resources under. So I know last year Randy was doing home checks, and that was covered underneath that COVID response. I don't know whether they're still doing that, so we need to determine that from you. We have talked about potentially buying a freestanding air purifier for this room and potentially the offices. That kind of thing would be covered underneath it. But it's a very limited amount of capability to go after those funds. And they're gonna split the pie in two. So they're gonna pay half of it this summer, half of it next summer. So if we can come up with the information to submit, we'll get some COVID related relief money. We're not gonna be able to get stuff for property taxes and other things. My revenues just weren't hit that bad from that standpoint. And Audrey's already started to verify as she mentioned earlier, the DUNS number and the other one, whatever.
Yeah, Sam.
SAM number, which we had to do the same thing last year. We submitted stuff for COVID. So, any questions on that one? You have what I have on this one so far. Okay. Historic Town Hall Project, Storm Window Company. It was printed out today. There were two quotes from I think 8 or 9 different entities. Let's see, Old Window Restorers, Jacobs Glass Inc. Jacobs Glass is the one that did our work last year for the 8 windows. Magala Window Works, Rooster Productions, allied directly to the company, the Stone Window Company, and the Sash and Solder Company. Jacobs Glass and Whole Window Restorers were the only ones that chose to submit a bid. Whole Window Restorers is the least expensive of those bids. Their average window price is $615. Jacobs Glass is $700 per window. So there is a difference there. We today put the proposal for signature in the folders and I signed it. I need to basically take a vote on it before we get done here so we can pay the deposit to be able to get that in, because of the apparently a pretty good sized price increase coming to those store windows in the next week or two. So the question I have is, do you have any questions on the work that Chris Garcia did with the whole proposal process? His recommendation, as mine would be, for all window restorers to receive this award. The price tag for those windows, 37 or 38 of them to be installed is $22,238. $9,000 is a deposit. All window restorers already has signed a contract agreement for the project, because they're also doing restoration of the 5 remaining windows on the first floor. So we don't need a new contract with them. The existing contract covers through December of 2022. So, questions?
Sounds good.
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 I'll make a motion to accept the proposal from Old Window Restorers for $22,238, $9,000 deposit due. And they are an existing vendor doing work on the historic town hall at this point in time.
I'll second that.
All in favor? All right.
Aye.
Thank you very much. Okay, that's what I had for old business and new business. Other new business, Conway Humane Society. In our folders, we got a request for a donation to the Conway Humane Society. I know this last year, we paid money to the, I think it's Lakes Region, or the outfit over in Ossipee, because that's where like the biggest chunk of our animals go. And we've actually made out, based on our donation and what we've ended up getting billed, which is minimal to nothing. The town has made out by making that donation. So that was built into the budget for this year. That was actually added last year during the budget season to be able to make that payment to Lakes Region. Nothing was allocated for another entity like Conway Humane Society. So what's your pleasure?
Do we have much, do we use that facility that much, or is that being way up there? I mean,
I actually had a discussion last fall with the dog officer, because I was concerned, like, where were most of our animals going that needed to go to a shelter? And by far, Lakes Region takes by far the most. And I asked the question, it's like, so what would be the scenario that we might have to use Conway? And she said, if they were totally full on a weekend, we might have to put something up with the Conway Humane Society, and we'd be responsible for that payment, daily rate.
Yeah, I remember a while back, Chief Butts had to take a dog because makes it full.
Apparently it doesn't happen often, but it
Yeah,
does happen.
it's not
It has the potential to happen.
rarely does it happen.
So I'd rather, personally, I'd rather take the shot and say, if we have to take something up there, then we just pay for it.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, I'm only thinking 1 or 2 there. You know, it's easier, maybe show money to pay that instead of.
Good. That's it for new business. Anything else from you gentlemen underneath the new business category?
I got one thing, I'll aim it towards Audrey. Had a couple people tell me that on Zoom, they don't have time to type, there's not enough time to type. I don't know how long they have
Okay, I've been waiting 30 seconds, which seems like a long time, so you can help me watch the hand and.
No, I didn't even know how much time, I didn't know there was a time.
Well, I just wait till it's quiet and it seems like people who want to have, I mean, with experience, you know,
We've had some people that
Yeah.
call in regularly and they're ready to go.
yeah.
Well, one of them was Vicky Kirkwood, and she's Zoom's all just about every meeting, and she was the one that told me twice, she said, I don't have time enough to.
Yeah, they don't have to type anything in. You can go to your name under participants and raise your hand. It's a one button click to raise your hand. You don't have to type in your question. I'll open your microphone. Yeah. So that's why I say raise your hand.
No, I mean, I don't know if she has a microphone, but what, I don't.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't know what she could be doing on the phone. I don't know what she was.
Yeah.
That was just I said, well, I'll bring it up. I didn't really know how
And
much.
I mean, we can wait a minute. I don't
Yeah.
think I should wait a full minute.
Okay, you guys have to help me.
Okay.
In the meantime,
If we need it. Anything else, Lenny?
no.
Tom? Okay. Public comment time. Raise your hand. Let Audrey know you want to have an open mic to speak. Please. We'll give it a full minute to give everybody the opportunity to raise their hand. Well, if you only raise your hand, it's really quick. So I thought you did. Boom. But I understand.
Gotta
It's
stand.
supposed to stand up.
The public can't hear our doorbell, but it's patriotic right now. No comments. No hands.
That's minimum. Okay. No public comment for today. Any need for a non-public? I don't have anything either. Okay. It says adjournment, but we're not doing it. We'll take a 5-minute recess and be back here at by this clock in here, 10:34, and we'll start a work session.
Okay. Question on that,
Yeah,
work session wasn't closed,
we're not gonna end the meeting.
okay?
That's the reason.
You are.
So Audrey, before you leave, Rebecca usually emailed us in and copies us on her report. I did not see that in today's reading. Was it in there?
I didn't check Darlene's email yesterday. I mean, I did, but not near the end of the day.
Okay.
But I'll reach out to her by phone if I don't hear from her because,
No, she gives.
no, I've sent her a couple emails and she hasn't responded.
Ah.
So just to check on her.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Did you get the email from me yesterday?
Yeah,
Just saying what?
yeah, that was like really quick. Site visits to 4 junkyards and properties, talked to 3 owners.
Yeah.
Stopped at the office, did some work filing in mail.
So what were you expecting besides that?
Nothing, but I didn't, normally it's been printed and put in one of the folders.
Oh, we agreed we weren't gonna do that unless it was the month-end one, because you all get them. We had made that decision a couple weeks ago.
Makes it clean.
You made that decision.
All right.
We're gonna contact her about them anymore?
I did already.
Oh, thank you.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay, transfer station ordinance. What did you find out and what So from a standpoint of, did you make notes on your copy or outside your copy or? Got it.
This,
Yep, the brochure piece.
yeah.
Yeah.
Not too much in,
Was there stuff in the brochure that they felt was not useful at all and we could use in real estate for putting something else that might be more meaningful?
no, not really. Just some of the fees and some of the stuff that's brought in. Like in the Whitewoods, section, there's nothing to say that the doors should be removed from refrigerators. All of the reasons.
Did we have it? I wasn't aware that we had been using it as a policy.
I thought it was, I think it was state law. I thought,
Well, I thought because we had everything behind lock, we had it behind the razor wire fence, we were covered
well,
for that.
you know, why a fence is only good is.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, yeah, no, I'm good with that.
You know, just like, you know, there's nothing to say if they bring in a lawnmower, the oil and gas should be either, so that should be
Okay,
added.
yep.
Drain of all fluids.
Yeah. And under the bulk roads, couch is $10, but a sofa bed is $20.
Yeah.
You know, couch and sofa bed, pretty much the same size.
Same side, totally different construction,
Yeah.
a lot more metal. And when we did this one, I actually did research around us, with like 6 or 7 towns around us to come up with this pricing. And we were at or lower than most everybody else.
Well, I just thought that maybe they should be the same price. The couch should be $20, same as the sofa bed. That's what they're, not to lower the price of the sofa bed, but to raise the price of the couch.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. It's based on the cost increases we're having for our demo stuff. All right. That makes sense. And we just need to add language in on the, now let me ask you a question. I've got the Word doc for that Word document. You want me to send that over to you? So you can go in and make some of these edits in here and put them in color or something. And then we can after we get.
You know what you're talking about?
I'm asking the question. It's like, or if you can just give me your notes, what I'll do is I'll take a shot at it and just do it quickly. And then I'll just send it out to everybody and you can review it next time out.
Yeah.
What did the lawnmower discussion, remove oil, was there any recommendation on discussion regarding what we charge for disposal of?
Yeah, they said like long tractors, you know, they just bring them in with 4 tires, you know, and Bill suggested $30 and it would cover the disposal of the long tractor and the tires too. So you would, instead of charging extra for the tires, $3 each tire.
So what do we end up doing with a lawn tractor? Because
They kind of take them apart and,
throw the pieces in the different areas.
yeah.
Okay, all right.
You know.
That one wasn't even part of any of the other stuff that I did research on.
Right.
So that's good. It's a good add-on.
You know, push mowers, they, you know, they pretty much do the same.
Yeah. Yep.
You know,
So-
they're, I forget what percentages they're allowed in metal containment, but contaminant, but.
So lawn tractors are one thing. What are we gonna charge for lawn mowers?
They thought mowers would be like $10.
I'm good with that.
And we also brought up grills. Yes,
Oh, okay.
you know, sometimes some of these grills are the size of a washing machine.
Yeah.
So, Bill thought maybe $10 for a grill. And he left it up to us about furnaces and water heaters.
Yeah, I suppose 2 on the grill wouldn't be bad. We can try that and see what we get. If we all of a sudden get a huge volume. We could-
I mean, you're talking big, you know. big
Yeah, that's
grills.
why I'm just,
You know, I've taken grills, but I've taken them apart,
yeah,
you know.
I know, I think he's talking the one with the side
Yeah.
tables
And
and,
people just bring bring them in less than 10.
For a big grill, I think ten's too small. Well, 15.
I want to go 15. Especially if they gotta tear it down.
Yeah, that's keeping it, gotta do some tear down. Hey, you okay with 15?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, we'll do the grills, we'll do 15. And then water heaters,
Yeah,
those have come in, those have. Where have those gone, never been?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll probably ought to get 10, what, they have a recommendation?
No, they didn't.
Probably only 10 on that. We got to let them tear everything down. That's just 10 on, I'm thinking 10 on that.
And furnace and the boilers.
Do they have to tear any of those down because of the internal components? Gas
No, I
line?
mean, usually, it's all metal, but it's just the bulk of it.
All right.
You know, that's what, they usually take stuff apart just to save room,
Right,
Yeah.
right, yeah.
to get more in the house.
Yeah, that one to me would be like 15 or 20. Because if we get large volumes of those large items, we're not gonna be able to get any kind of scrap in the place because of the bulkiness, and we're still gonna have a hauling fee to take it out.
I mean, they don't get a lot of them.
No, but I mean, if we do.
Yeah.
We had an issue last year where one of the businesses was trying to bring in 4, 5, 6 at a time, like every other week. And we stopped that, because we said that's commercial business,
Yeah.
it's not an individual just replacing their furnace and bringing it down to. So, furnaces, I'm thinking 20.
Maybe it's same for a boiler too.
Yeah.
Different things. One's only heavier than the other.
Yeah. One's twice as big.
Yeah. One usually make a cast inside.
Will the guys know the difference between the two of them?
Once they pick it up.
Yeah.
Well, usually they don't, that's the thing.
Wow.
People, when I saw them last year, people bring them in and they were throwing them in. The guys weren't involved in lifting them. And if it's gonna be difficult to try and make a differentiation between this one or that one, what it is, I'd rather take that confusion away.
I know the higher figure than see. I got a count of
So 80 furnaces, 30,
okay.
I can do that.
Okay, so the furnaces and lawn factors will be the same.
Yeah. Makes sense.
And also they mentioned that, not that it do any good, he said, you know, Max had to yell at a few people to slow down when they come in there. I mean, I don't know, if the speed limit sign 10 miles an hour or whatever, would help. Probably not.
There's only a few bad apples, and that's an issue. And over the last couple of years, I've asked him, and he has had conversations directly with those individuals,
That he's told.
that if they didn't slow down, then they were just gonna be asked to leave, and they couldn't deposit their trash or anything, they're out. And we had a repeat offender on one of them, and we basically asked them to come to the select board and have a discussion, which they chose not to. And then they didn't participate in the transfer station for a period of time.
Not speed bump, is that gonna be put down or is that been up for the winter?
Well, they take it out in the winter. Wow, they haven't put it back.
I think we ought to put it back.
I mean, you hate to have to do that just for a few bad apples.
Right, because sometimes, I've seen it happen, somebody goes over that with a trailer, and the trailer boxes, they pop something out.
Yeah, true.
Get a mess of it.
I'm thinking we can ask them to, ask Mark to have a conversation. And if we have a further problem, then we can
Yeah.
readdress it here.
So we'll leave
Because
this
like
like
you say, it's only, it's not everybody. it's only-
No.
Yeah.
And if you walk up there right now and said, give me the 5 names or 6 names, you could probably rattle them around his head. It's-
And you mentioned that, Todd comes in and mows the old land. But, this was before I donated my old weed whacker. About cleaning up the bankings and stuff around the building, around the containers down below and stuff, just weed whacker. But now Bill will get down in putter or something.
Like, if Bill's agreeable to doing it with what you just gave him.
Yeah.
Let's go that route. If for some reason he can't do it because his shoulder's bothering him or something, then I think we ought to ask Todd to build it into his normal schedule.
Yeah.
Because Mike back a few months back had actually asked him to go in. There's apparently, based on the report last fall, there's 1 or 2 areas on the cap where there's no grass and potentially some of the fabric showing. So we asked him to bring in some dirt, re-grass it, because we got highlighted as not having it fully grassed. There was also an area on the backside where the forest had started to encroach toward the cap. And it was highlighted in a specific place, and he was asked to cut that back. And then apparently in the woods a little bit, there was fabric sticking up out of the ground. And Mike had asked Todd to check and find out if he thought it was part of the cap or whether it was just a piece of tarp down there that needed to be recycled. And if it was part of the cap, bring in dirt and fill and cover it.
Yeah, no, Mark said that was just a whole piece of old top, a piece of junk
Okay.
that wasn't. He said there's no membrane over the top of that. He said it's just clay, covered in clay and molded over.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know where we got it written up and then it was shown.
That was-
Maybe I misunderstood. Maybe,
Well, maybe,
maybe the fabric down in the woods was the reference line. Just
Yeah.
something for the cap.
I mean, that's going on what Mike said. I never saw him captain, so I don't know.
I would, he's been there long enough. He's.
Yeah.
He probably got the knowledge. So, but yeah, I suppose we should follow up with Todd to find out if he's still got those things on his radar for down there as far as the work on that cap.
And he hasn't seen his woodshop again. That's a good thing. And the cleanup, not only with Todd, but also with Evans in the wintertime, trying to get snow out from around the metal container and the glass container. Because when they plow them, they plow right up in front. They can't get them. So,
That was one thing I had on my discussion for next year is to have that discussion with us, with him.
Yeah.
Around, we need to change that a little bit because of what
Mike
creates.
said that, he's called, Evans 3 times and nobody shows up. They used to leave the backhoe there, so people go down and get sand.
Yeah.
Now, there's sand down there, but they don't even plow down to it so that people can get it. And Mike said a couple times this winter, somebody in their own personal vehicle plowed down there so they could get some sand without going up.
We haven't allowed them to take the sand out of there. We told them to go to town shed.
Right.
That's where we were selling.
Yeah, well, a lot of people, they're right there and they don't want to make a special. So, but they shouldn't be plowing down there either.
True.
And, but, I don't know if you've been down, well, you can't get too far down behind there's a tree down across the road down there, probably get removed in case of.
In that little, that goes along the pond area. The road that goes out behind.
Yeah, it was down into the old, what we used to call a gap, still call it a gap, but there's a tree down across there. I mean, it's pretty, they could get a fire truck in if there was a fire or something, so.
Is it big enough that we could move it with like my small tractor, or we need to get?
It was a pretty good sized tree, we can cut out and get out of it. When they did the road projects, Green Mountain Road and stuff, the stuff they hauled in here, you just dumped it down in the woods. I mean, it's concrete culverts, there's those metal culverts.
Yep.
You know, it should be kind of cleaned up a little bit, metal taken out.
We had that discussion after that. We didn't know what happened until it was afterwards.
Yeah.
There was not supposed to be any more going down there like that.
Yeah, it's an awful mess.
So we'll clean that up.
We have to hire it done
Yeah,
because it's not part of the existing contract with Evans.
I mean, we used to have a whole bunch of stuff piled right behind the stadium, right behind the burn pit. That was,
Like demo debris.
no, just dirt and everything that got dumped there. And Josh and Bob, they were the road contractor at the time, they went in and cleaned it all up because it was getting out close to the burn pile. So the burn pit. Dickie Thompson thought it was encroaching too close. So they went in and they cleaned up a lot of it, and they went down in the woods, you know, dug a big hole. Buried a lot of stuff, all the ash and everything out of the burn pits. But it was looking nice, but now with the road projects. Kind of junk it all up.
We have some of that.
I'm immediately concerned that you can't get out there with the emergency vehicle because of that tree.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'll take a look at that this afternoon. If it's something I can think I can move with my tractor, my compact tractor.
Yeah.
If I can cut it, I can probably push it.
Oh, yeah, I
But,
mean, you gotta cut it.
yeah.
You wouldn't just take the whole tree.
No, I understand that, but
Yeah.
with my little tractor, sometimes even cutting it, there's not enough power to push it.
No, my little tractor, it'll push and pull, but for the size of it, it's amazing what
Yeah.
it push and pull. Don't pick up much. And, one last thing they'd like to just see mentioned here that, the attendants have the final say on what to charge people.
It's in here, but I don't think it's on here.
Right.
Yeah.
Because, you know, somebody will say, Brad will say it's $20. Well, they'll only charge me 10 the last time, you know. And so, yeah, they've gotten into some big discussions over what people pay.
Okay. And I think the other one that we had too is the language in it is the seasonal permit, the red one versus the green one, whatever.
Yeah.
And at this stage of the game, because of the way people are up here as a result of COVID, they're up here year round for the most part. I'm good with doing away with this.
Yeah, get rid of the seasonal.
Just make it, everybody pays the same thing for one ticket a year. All right. Anything else that they had?
No, that was basically it.
All right. Did you, when you took those notes, did you write those down?
I wrote them on here.
Perfect.
I'll read them. That's what
Hieroglyphics, right?
I was trying to read some of them.
All right, I'll take a crack at it. And then what I'll do is I'll highlight the edits in red in the Word document. I'll send it through Audrey out to both of you so that it basically comes out and take a look at it and then just make some notes on it. And if it's a case where I forgot something, just send an email to Audrey and ask her to send it to me.
Yeah.
To make the edit. So don't send it direct, send it to Audrey and ask her to send it. Pass it forward. So. All right. Cool. The used oil grant. Do you feel comfortable in tackling it? It's got to be done before the end of June.
I can try it, yeah.
Um,
Any information?
I'll reach out to Mike and I will copy Audrey and you on it, and I'll ask him for the contact information and the website address for that particular area where you can get the application.
Okay.
And that way, like, when he did it last year, he did some follow-up conversation with that person, make sure that he had it worded right or whatever. So, And I'll ask him at the same time for that content, I'll ask him if he kept a copy of what he wrote down, so that you can kind of reference it like a template.
Yeah.
Want to make that big a change to it. Let me just make a note here. Okay, good. And then, did you, I will give you this if you want it, to look at it. I know Tom gave you some stuff the other day on the container part of it.
Yeah.
But I had a whole bunch of additional notes I plugged in on this. That I'll let you have, and also got references, I looked at some of the state regs regarding what we needed to do to make sure we met EPA compliance and all that other stuff that was in there, so. One of the reasons taking with that double wall steel pipe was because it met all the national and state guidelines. A holding tank. And it should last 15 to 20 years undercover. So, all right. Health ordinance. So yesterday, as a result of my new adventure in that arena, I went to pull up the health ordinance that we have, and it's a obvious photocopy of something from August 27th of 2002. And I'm thinking we probably need to review it and see if we want to update it with anything. I tried to find some similar documents on the internet from towns in the state of New Hampshire or cities. And the city of Berlin was the only one that I could find that was even close to something we do, because everybody else usually bakes it into the zoning, building permits and health, and basically they combine it in their documents. We're just not set up to do that. But I think we should review it and see if there's anything that jumps out at us, and if there's something that might be obviously missing, we need to take a look at it. And I've asked Mike to pull whatever he can pull from the state regarding the design of ordinances, that he can pass that forward to us.
They must have guidelines too.
I'm hoping, yeah, I don't know, I'm hoping they do. And then we can take a look at it and basically, because it's gonna, we don't have a copy of it other than that PDF, and it's a bad looking PDF. So it's gotta be completely retyped in Word anyway. It's about a 15 or 20 page doc. I reached out to Bill Pycut because he was one of the signatures on there from that time period. And he said they had a problem with septic systems at that point. He believes they pulled language from some other towns around and kind of used that as a template to modify for what was needed here. So, question I have, would either one of you have any time to basically call like Freedom, Madison, Monsipee and find out if they've got a specific ordinance that is related to the, I'm gonna call it sewer disposal stuff, because that's literally what our wastewater. Okay, yeah, just if we can rule it out, and then, as I said, I didn't print it today, but it's in the docks area on the town website. So under the selectmen area.
20 years old.
At least look at it and see if it needs to change, and then at least we can do a revised date as and make something more current. Alright. All right, that's what I have for today. Anything else that we want to tackle that we brought through the door? Okay, Lenny?
was something we just thought of, but we didn't have time to write it down. So, yeah.
All right.
Yes.
To build kind of the agenda for work sessions. Do we want to basically kind of shoot emails to Audrey and say, hey, I want to make sure we have this on the work session discussion? And tackle something, or how do you want to go about creating the agenda for work sessions? I mean, we had some stuff that popped up in the last couple of meetings that we gave us this,
Maybe the week before.
okay,
Just decide on what we want to talk about the following week.
yeah, no, that's, okay, that's good,
No, Andy pops up like this, said it has,
yeah,
only a week off.
okay, that'll work, okay. So we can,
Yeah,
next week, we'll take a look at it and see what we want for the following week. Okay, that works for me. Anything else? That we need to do for tonight?
Oh, yes, real quick. Tree out here between,
You mean the dead one is,
yeah, you need to get that written down too.
is it ours or is it?
It's, I thought, well, I was out.
It's ours, okay. Then would you reach out to Mr. Evans and ask him to dispose of this thing?
Yep.
speaking of trees, we just had Dale Smith from the Green Mountain Road.
Yeah.
Took down 2 big huge pines at the cemetery across my house.
Yeah.
And did a good job. But he said if there's anything the town could use him for, keep in mind, more than happy, just bought a bucket truck. Because we used to use English.
Yeah.
And he's not far enough, so
What's the height that would we
He
get
can-
for that?
he can go, I think he said it's 63 feet. his truck.
Really? Yeah, we're gonna be able to use some.
But he said, he said, I got insurance and everything, does the town require any more? I said,
No, actually, depending on what he wants, if he wants us to pay him to use it, then that ends up being a contract kind of thing.
Yeah.
But if he's doing work on behalf of the town, all we have to do is, there's a form we have to fill out for Primex and notifying, hey, we just hired these guys, and here's the work we need to do. And they just, it's a record for them regarding the contract.
Because he said if there's any more insurance they need, I'll get it.
No, I don't think so. We require $1 million limits or minimums, but other than that, nothing. The reason I kind of jumped on what you just said is when it comes to the shutters on the library, we're gonna be putting those up. And we were trying to figure out how to get the second floor and get it to repeat to do those. And we were actually thinking we might have to rent one, which is like $3 grand for a week or something like that.
Yeah.
So if we got plenty of lead time, this is not something we're doing for months away, maybe even next year. But when we get to that, I'll reach out to him if we can.
Now he made told me it's time.
If he's willing, that's even better. But yeah, I can see that as a use right there on that.
Well, just that tree, we're gonna go to Evans, or we go to him, sitting on the road, just on the property.
It's on town property, so what'll happen is I'm just like, let Audrey know. And I'll ask each one of us to be reminded, when we see the Evans bill, he'll outline that specific detail, truck, person, tree. We actually have these separate line items for road tree trimming. So we just need to make sure when that part of the bill comes in, it gets allocated to that bucket rather than the standard road bucket.
All right, well, I guess my next question would be, who's less expensive, would it be Evans or would it be? Would I be Smith, who's it, tree service?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I mean, if it's a case where you think he wants to get into the tree cutting business on our behalf?
Trying to make a living. So,
Okay.
I mean, I can ask him, and I can, I'll just let you.
Chances are, he would be cheaper than ours.
Yeah, that's right.
Because of the rates we have built in for people and equipment in the system, that's what he charges.
I mean, the
This
ones,
is not at all.
the ones in the cemetery, big trees. they climbed to the end. First one they had, I think 11 ropes on. Oh, yeah. He's up there. But, you know, they were 5 feet across, but cool weeks. Yeah, when you go by, you can see them laying there. And just all they did was take them down. Anything that fell into the cemetery, the guy runs away and he's now just falling into the woods. They were there all day. Pretty good job.
Yeah, I think, quite frankly.
Unfortunately, he couldn't get his bucket truck in yet, so they didn't find it.
So will you reach out to him?
Yeah, I'll reach out to him.
So I will make my phone call.
Yeah, and I'll let you know, get over on.
And we'll do some, if he says yes, and he's willing to basically, you know, maybe help us occasionally. I want to have another discussion on it because I tried to get a couple of tree companies that they come for source around here and give us a price to say, okay, if I asked you this year to do this in line of the road, what would you charge me to basically buy it, ship it back? And they both told me that they're so busy doing their sort of business that they're not really private stuff. It's much bigger.
Well, Dale's got a chipper.
But we could, one of the things that I had mentioned it probably 8 or 10 months ago in here that I thought with that particular budget for that road tree trimming piece we have, we should try and figure out how we can do certain parts of certain roads in town.
Right.
And start doing a regular yearly process.
Yeah, we had
Trim stuff back.
a few years back, we had a contract with Beach. But it was, ride the roads and see what needs to be cut, you know. Basically, all I did was cut a little bit on Green Mountain. But it was just cleaning up what was there, it was all on the side of the road.
All right.
But I mean, there are roads that are growing in.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And then it's getting more grown in every day.
That's right.
Like, and what really highlighted for me when we did that drive with the 3 of us last year around here, looking at signs. It's like, it's amazing the number of signs you can't even see on the road. When you go on the road, you can't even see the road signs, speed limit or whatever.
But pot is there, so you head towards my house, and you can't even stay on the other side of the road with all the slack bushes.
But yeah, so if he's willing to consider doing that, then I think we ought to have a discussion and say, okay, what would we like to do?
Yeah, absolutely.
And potentially tackle some parts of some roads.
So you wanna, want me to just get a price on them, or you
Well,
wanna?
this one out here, we kind of need done.
Yeah,
because
okay.
It's actually, it's totally dead, and my major fear is a high wind that comes down and, you know, potentially goes in the road or over our Lyle's property. That one we need to take down.
Yeah, that'd be great, to get someone in town and all.
Yeah.
You can
You
get
know,
it
I mean,
right.
as busy as Ron is, I'm sure you. Just.
Okay,
I mean, Dale's busy too. But I'm not as busy as Ron is.
okay.
Excellent.
All right. Anything else for today?
No,
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'd second.
Full eye.
All right.
Thank you. Barbara, do you know how to shut the recorder off, or do I need to get Audrey or? Is it the door open? Sure.